Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Kai Jackson.
And I'm Joy Lambert. Calls for peace tonight after a man is gunned down in East Baltimore, just 1 month before he would have become a father.
Fox 45's Alexa Ashwell is live from police headquarters with the emotional tribute. Alexa.
Yes, Kai Joy, it's been more than a week since 19-year-old Dante Davis was shot and killed, and still no arrest in his case. Tonight, family and friends focused on honoring him and are asking for others to stop this violence.
Put down the guns and stop the violence!
Here in East Baltimore,
Put down the guns and stop the violence! Put down the guns and stop the violence!
a push to make this community safer.
It feels great because somebody's doing something together, unity to stop the violence.
Together, people walking around Greenmont Avenue where just last week a life was taken.
Peace among neighbors. That there will be peace in our city.
This candle leads to a hallway where those attending say 19-year-old Dante Davis, known as Trill, was shot and killed just after midnight on March 21st. The site now marked by balloons and pictures. Trill was a soon-to-be father, pictured here with his mother and pregnant girlfriend during their baby shower just days before his death, both attending tonight's vigil.
This is another child without a father, and it's not right. It will never be okay.
Lisa Moloch leads a local group that helps children whose parents have been murdered and helped organize tonight's vigil.
We want to allow his voice to be heard. His voice was taken away from him way too soon.
Mourning a loss through prayer, tears, and embrace, and together calling for a safer tomorrow. Police have not yet said what they believe led up to this shooting. Anyone with any information on this case is asked to call police. Reporting live outside police headquarters, Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
I am deeply sorry for any lack of confidence or disappointment which this initiative may have caused.
Questions continue tonight despite Baltimore Mayor Catherine Pugh's news conference Thursday. She spent 20 minutes chronicling a winding path, tracing her six-figure children's book deal with the University of Maryland medical system. It was a news conference that spent a quarter of its time with the mayor showing off a line of infant clothes inspired by her Healthy Holly book series. We caught up with Governor Larry Hogan today and asked him what he thought of the mayor's news conference.
I saw part of the press conference yesterday, and the mayor did not take questions. I understand she had some kind of documentation. I haven't seen the documentation, but I think we still have a lot of unanswered questions.
Well, the mayor called Thursday's press assembly shortly after being released from the hospital where she had been treated for a bout of pneumonia. An ethics complaint has been filed with the state prosecutor's office into the mayor's dealings with UMMS. So what do you think?
Should there be a criminal investigation into Mayor Pugh's book deal? Go to foxbaltimore.com/vote to give your opinion, and we'll update results live throughout the show. Meanwhile, the mayor wasn't the only one refusing to take questions about her controversial Healthy Holly book series. Today, her attorney also declined. But there are several unanswered questions, and today, some new questions surrounding how many of the books are printed.
Shelley Orman spoke to the director of the Canadian printing company, who says he's never heard about the fourth book.
There are new questions today surrounding the fourth Healthy Holly book Mayor Catherine Pugh says is delayed.
In November 2016, it was our intent again to print the new edition of the Healthy Holly series. Healthy Holly vegetables are not just green, and distributed in early 2017. University of Maryland Medical System paid $100,000 for those books. The shipment of these books to Baltimore City Public Schools is in the process of completion.
Friday, Joseph Cohen, the director of Cromar Printing in Canada, which printed the first 3 Healthy Holly books, says they know nothing about a fourth book. Mayor Pugh has not mentioned having a different printer. Cromar says until this week, when she requested the delivery slips for her first 3 book orders, they had not talked with Mayor Pugh since 2015 after the 3rd book was printed. Pugh says the University of Maryland Medical System paid $100,000 for 20,000 of each of her 5 books. She's returned money for the 5th order, but not the 4th one that's delayed.
Now getting to the 4th book, the Healthy Holly series, into the hands of our children as soon as possible.
Cromar estimates printing costs to be a maximum of $15,000 for each of the orders. That does not include other costs of production and publishing. Cromar says their delivery slips show at least 58,000 of the first 3 books were sent directly to Baltimore City schools, but the school system has yet to confirm receiving them. In Baltimore, Shelley Orman, Fox 45 News.
So is the mayor in potential legal jeopardy? Well, joining us tonight to hopefully answer that question is Kurt Nachman. Kurt is a former prosecutor, now business attorney. Kurt, thank you for joining us. Good to have you back here at Fox 45.
Thanks for having me here.
As you view this situation with Mayor Catherine Pugh and this book deal, which was not an actual contract with the University of Maryland Medical System, what's your assessment?
Well, I think one of the things that strikes me right off the bat is that on its very face, although people may not like it, there's nothing inherently illegal about the book deal. I think the problem that the mayor's going to run into is what was disclosed and when it was disclosed and how it was disclosed, and was it done appropriately as required by the city code in the state of Maryland.
So we're talking about, and I want to bring that back that point. Right now, we don't have any evidence that shows us that this is illegal. And of course, as she's mayor, what was done apparently isn't, and it's not an uncommon practice for people who might be on a board to have business relationships with UMMS.
No.
Where could this potentially be a legal issue for the mayor? Under what circumstances?
So if there's an investigation that's launched, whether it's by the state prosecutor's office or a local municipal agency or, the federal U.S. attorney's office, they're going to examine both the mayor's tax returns as well as the ethics forms for Baltimore City that she's required to file. So there's been some rumblings that maybe some of this information was or wasn't disclosed. I don't think anyone in the public knows what was or wasn't disclosed, and I think we need to all reserve judgment until all that information is out there. And frankly, that's what any prosecutor is going to look for when they're examining a situation like this.
If you were the mayor's attorney, how would you advise her?
I think I would want to sit down with the mayor, talk about all of the information, all of the tax documents, all of the ethics forms, get copies of all of that information so that I would be on the same page as any prosecuting agency, and hopefully I would be ahead of the curve and able to deal with those issues and examine that information to see what, if anything, was done. I generally get a little apprehensive anytime my client wants to make a public statement. I think for me, I would rather do that because what I say and do isn't necessarily admissible against my client.
Right. Kurt Nachman, thank you very much. Always a pleasure to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Our coverage of Mayor Catherine Pugh's ethics controversy continues on the news at 10. Coming up at 10:30, we'll examine whether the Healthy Holly controversy is taking the public's focus away from the recent escalation of violence and murder in Baltimore. That's coming up at 10:30.
2 Baltimore County police officers are recovering tonight after being hit by a car while trying to serve an arrest warrant on a suspect. This all happened around 10:30 this morning in front of St. Agnes Hospital. Police tried to pull over a car to serve the passenger inside a warrant for an undisclosed charge. That's when the driver of the car the suspect was in headed toward the approaching officers.
The 3 officers immediately pulled out their weapons and began to fire shots at the suspect vehicle. At this point, it's unknown or unconfirmed how many shots were actually fired.
The suspects fled southbound on Caton Avenue. Police later found the vehicle empty on Melvin Avenue with bullet holes. They were able to track down the target suspect, but the driver who allegedly tried to run them down remains on the loose tonight.
The man who once served briefly as Baltimore City's police chief will soon be spending 10 months in federal prison for cheating on his taxes. That's the sentence handed down for Daryl D'Souza. Federal prosecutors asked the judge to give D'Souza a year in jail for failing to file tax returns over 3 years. Defense attorneys asked the judge for leniency, saying D'Souza was consumed with the pressures of his job while also caring for his aging parents. When he left court, he said D'Souza said nothing. His lawyer didn't say much either.
Judge Blake did what she thought was right. We got nothing to say about it.
In addition to his sentence, D'Souza will also perform 100 hours of community service and repay more than $67,000 owed to taxpayers. He could begin his prison sentence in about 6 weeks.
There is welcome news tonight for commuters who travel south to the D.C. area. The pothole-riddled portion of the BW Parkway is about to undergo some long-needed repairs. But as Brad Bell from our sister station Washington, D.C. explains, that will cause some traffic headaches this weekend.
The work should bring an end to the bone-rattling, tire-popping ride that has been the crumbling BW Parkway through Laurel for the last month or so.
That's a big old hole.
Under pressure from drivers and politicians alike, the Park Service announcing that repairs with a pothole killer truck will start just after rush hour today. The Parkway southbound between 198 and 197 will close from 7:30 p.m. until 5 a.m. tomorrow. Tomorrow night, it'll be the same schedule for the northbound lanes. Full repaving is expected to begin in a matter of weeks. And beyond that, the question remains, will the federal government turn the road over to Maryland as Governor Hogan has proposed? Hogan has been asking the state's congressional delegation for help. Today, they all met to discuss the idea. It seems the senators and representatives are not yet on board.
We want to know exactly what is planned, how we would move forward.
The great appeal to it is that there will be far more responsiveness to the people of Maryland, and so that's got a lot of appeal. But it's just being presented to us now, and we're working it through.
That was Brad Bell reporting. Work on the southbound lanes begins tonight and runs until 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. They will do the same work Saturday night on the northbound lanes.
Governor Larry Hogan has lost his effort to start the school year for all Maryland public schools after the Labor Day weekend. This latest action is the third of the governor's 3 vetoes to be overridden this weekend. Well, the latest now gives control to the individual county school boards as to when their school year will begin. School systems had chafed under the governor's mandate, saying that a post-Labor Day start created problems given Maryland's snowy winters.
When to start, when to close, when to have spring break, and when to have time for holidays and snow days.
Now, Republicans tried to amend the bill by allowing school boards to be flexible as to when the school year would end, but Democrats rejected that counteroffer.
Coming up is Turnabout Fair Play, why Republicans in Congress now want to investigate Democrats who wanted to investigate President Trump. Plus, a prank call that turned deadly ends up in serious jail time for one man, the 21st century trend that prosecutors hope today's sentence puts a stop to. And take a look at this, a delivery driver helping himself to a customer's order. The outrageous story behind this stomach-churning sight when the News at 10 continues.
And very mild conditions tonight. Temperatures are still in the upper 50s, looking over Towson. Even warmer temperatures in the forecast for our Saturday. And their next weather maker arrives Saturday night. I'll break down that timeline for you here in just a few.
Baltimore County Police want to know how a man ended up dead outside of an apartment complex near Towson University. The victim was found bleeding heavily along Lockland Circle outside Towson Town Apartments. He died a short time later. Investigators are still trying to determine exactly how that man was hurt. A Baltimore County man convicted of killing a pastor will likely spend the rest of his life behind bars. A judge sentenced Daniel DeGoto to 50 years in prison. Back in August of 2017, he was caught on camera running over Pastor Happy Ikenwilo and then stabbing him with a hunting knife more than a dozen times. Court documents revealed DeGoto believed the pastor was spiritually controlling his wife.
A husband and wife wanted in connection to a double murder in Glen Burnie have been arrested. 19-year-old Edwin Hurtado Valdez wanted for the murders of Antoine Briggs and Antoine Queen. Police arrested Hurtado Valdez in Mexico on Wednesday and turned him over to the U.S. Marshals. He will be extradited back to Anne Arundel County in the coming weeks. His wife, 18-year-old Cambria Seek, turned herself into Anne Arundel County Police today. She's accused of hiding evidence and is being held without bond. A flight from BWI was supposed to be heading for San Francisco, but only got as far as Dulles, just to our south this morning. Just after 7:30, several passengers complained about fuel-like fumes actually filling up the cabin on board the United Airlines flight. The Boeing 737 landed safely at Dulles, and passengers were offloaded. 7 people, however, were taken to the hospital. United officials say the issue was due to a ventilation problem.
If you're waiting to read the report filed last week by Special Counsel Robert Mueller, you'll have to wait longer. In a letter today to the chairs of the House and Senate Judiciary Committees, Attorney General William Barr said he's still working with Mueller and the intelligence community to redact secret grand jury and classified material. The main text of the report is nearly 400 pages long, and Barr said he believes it will be ready for public release by, quote, mid-April, if not sooner, end quote. Barr also offered to testify before both panels in early May. With the end of one investigation, calls for a new one began. It's been just 1 week since Special Counsel Robert Mueller's report was given to the Attorney General. And while we don't know much about what's in the report itself, there are increasing calls and now legal action to get to the bottom of why the Russia probe began in the first place. Sinclair's national correspondent Christine Frizzell brings us up to date.
I encountered and am aware of information and intelligence.
Former CIA Director John Brennan and former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper.
We did not draw on the dossier at all.
Now the targets of legal action, a quest for more information about their alleged role in the inception of the Russia investigation. The lawsuit, filed by the conservative watchdog group Judicial Watch, asks for all records of communication, including emails, text messages, and instant chats from the offices of the CIA, the DNI regarding memos known as the Steele dossier, and CNN.
For the last 2.5 years, people have been waving their arms and, screaming collusion, conspiracy.
Chris Farrell is the Director of Investigations and Research at Judicial Watch and says a central question is, how did we get here?
Who advanced this entire initiative, this narrative? Who is orchestrating things? These are extraordinarily powerful government officials. And are they running around peddling stories to CNN?
Some GOP lawmakers echoing calls for a new investigation.
Maybe we should investigate who faked this whole Russian hoax, who dredged it up, did they break any laws in doing it?
As expected, Democrats have a different take. They're insisting the full Mueller report be made public and say calls for a new investigation are simply a distraction.
They've shown no willingness to drop the subject. It's like Groundhog Day with them.
The fact that they continue to double down on their conspiracy theories but want to block the results of a 22-month investigation is just ridiculous.
Now that Robert Mueller's investigation has ended, renewed calls to find out how it all started in the first place. In Washington, I'm Christine Frizzell.
President Trump is once again threatening to close the southern border, saying a cascading crisis is underway. President Trump says the tens of thousands of migrants requesting asylum are carrying out a, quote, big fat con job on the legal system, and is now threatening to shut down the border to control illegal immigration. The president has made similar threats before. He's never followed through on them as of yet.
All right, time to check on our weather. Not bad today. Wondering how the weekend's going to shape up, though, right?
Yeah, let's check in now with Ashley.
Well, it's going to be two different stories, one for your Saturday, and then changes come for Sunday. So enjoy the first half of your weekend because it will definitely be feeling like spring. It felt like spring out there this afternoon. We saw some sunshine. Temperatures made it into the 60s and even the upper 60s. We made it 71 at BWI and down in D.C., 67 in downtown Baltimore, and 63 in Westminster. Temperatures are still up this evening, a very comfortable evening in the upper 50s to low 60s. We have a lot of clouds in place, so we'll keep our temperatures relatively mild over the next few hours. We will drop back to the upper 40s to low 50s to begin the day tomorrow morning, and then we are talking about the 70s by tomorrow afternoon. A mostly cloudy day, but definitely a warm Saturday before our temperatures go crashing for our Sunday, and that also comes with a chance for scattered showers. I'll break down your rain timeline coming up in just a few minutes.
Ashley, thank you. She's been part of the Fox 45 family since the station signed on the air. And tonight, we bid a fond farewell to one of our most beloved reporters and friends, Kathleen Cairns.
There's more than a surprise inside these boxes of sugary cereal, one that will definitely keep you up at night. How these boxes cause some trouble with the law.
And a prank call gone horribly wrong ends in a harsh lesson in justice. The lesson prosecutors hope to teach about the dangerous prank known as swatting when the news at 10 continues. It's called swatting, and the Justice Department hopes to put a substantial stop to it and prison time in for one of the so-called swatters. Swatting is when a person seeks revenge on another person by calling police and telling police that an armed hostage taker or some other dangerous situation is taking place at the home of the prank victim. In 2017, that ended with police shooting and killing an innocent man in Kansas. Today, the man who made that prank call received a 20-year prison sentence.
Almost 40 years after the first American women went to space, NASA excitedly announced that an all-female spacewalk would happen. Except today, when they were supposed to go, well, Houston had a problem. One of the astronauts scheduled for today's walk was replaced by a male astronaut last minute. The swap was made after NASA discovered they did not have enough spacesuits in women's sizes prepared. NASA has stated that they will be more accommodating in their next generation of spacesuits and hope to schedule another all-women's spacewalk soon.
Well, it might be getting warmer outside, but some Marylanders have their minds on the Arctic this week as the Maryland Zoo unveils new baby penguins. After hatching penguins for 50 years, the Maryland Zoo celebrated its, believe it or not, its 1,000th penguin chick last spring. So far this season, 9 chicks have hatched. Zoo officials say the studio young penguins will all be given names after characters from famous novels. Pictures of the new flightless friends can be found on the Maryland Zoo's Facebook page. They're cute.
Coming up, the investigation into the Boeing plane crashes continues. The similarities officials have found between the two crashes.
And a family in California is shaken over what they saw their DoorDash delivery driver do with their shake before giving it to them.
And violence seems to be on the rise in Baltimore. See how this year's homicide statistics compare to last when the News at 10 returns.
And spring showers tracking our way for our weekend. When they arrive and what you need to know, that's coming up next.
Well, Mayor Pugh faces questions concerning her own ethics. There has been a rash of crime. Kathleen Cairns examines what that means for Baltimore City.
In Baltimore City, 8 people were shot in the past 24 hours, and there have been 28 murders in the past 30 days. But some people are talking more about the mayor's books than the violence. While the mayor was preparing for her news conference at City Hall, there was another homicide in the Western District Thursday afternoon. The 900 block of West Franklin Street. A 39-year-old man died from a gunshot wound. Today, we find some turning to a higher power to make Baltimore a better place.
We wasn't supposed to live like this. Adam and Eve was in a paradise. And we try to help people to see that the future, God's paradise, is going to remove all these things.
In the Southeast District on Boston Street, 2 men were shot. Some residents say safety is always on their mind.
Yeah, I guess if you stay to yourself, you don't worry about no problems. So that's what I pretty much do, stay to myself.
So far, there have been 70 homicides in Baltimore City. That compares to 56 homicides at the same time last year. In Baltimore City, Kathleen Cairns, Fox 45 News.
And we want to update you on our question of the day. We asked, should there be a criminal investigation into Mayor Pugh's book deal? You can see on your screen right now, the majority of viewers say yes, there should. 80%, in fact, while 20% say no, there should not be criminal charges pursued against the mayor.
Well, being a Maryland legislator is a part-time job, so many have other jobs when they're not in session. But one prominent state senator has to leave this week for his second job. Montgomery County Senator Will Smith, who's in the Navy Reserves, is being deployed to Afghanistan. He says the September 11th attack on America inspired him to join the military. His colleagues are calling him an American hero, and Smith admits this will be a stark change to his job as a legislator.
That's right. I mean, I think we all have to shift after every session to go back to our civilian lives. This is certainly going to be a more stark transition than anything I've ever done before, coming from Annapolis, going into military. So something that I've been thinking about preparing for a couple weeks, but very different, very different.
Senator Smith is scheduled to return home in November.
Investigators seem to be connecting the dots between two deadly Boeing airplane crashes. The findings from both planes' black boxes suggest that the stall prevention systems automatically activated on both flights, making it impossible for the pilots to regain control of their aircraft. Several regulators have stated that additional pilot training for this specific situation will prevent further tragedies of this nature. Traffic stood still in Westminster, England today as thousands of Brexit delay protesters covered the streets outside Parliament. Inside, British Prime Minister Theresa May's proposal to withdraw from the EU was rejected for a third time. This means that the UK has missed its deadline to delay Brexit and make a deal with the European Union. Moving forward, Parliament is meeting on Monday to discuss alternative plans to Brexit. They have also scheduled an emergency summit on April 10th, just 2 days before the UK is set to leave the EU with no formal deal in place.
A couple renting a home through Airbnb in California makes a startling discovery and learns that just because no one else is in the home doesn't mean they have their privacy. Christian Aranda noticed something odd about the smoke detector that was hanging on the wall of the Orange County home. Turns out police say it was a fake smoke detector hiding a camera with a missing SD card pointed at the bed. Now, the couple turned it off and left immediately, but she can't help but wonder if others may have been recorded.
If she's doing it, there's someone else actually out there doing it. I want people to know that, to just, if you're gonna rent it out, look through the whole room, anything that looks suspicious.
Well, the owner insists that the device had just been installed that morning, but it appears to show up in photos in the home's online ad. The couple did file a police report, but since there was no recording made and no evidence of Wi-Fi broadcasting, no charges have been filed at this time.
3 cereal boxes seized by police today in California had more than a prize inside. They were filled with cocaine. 45-year-old Jose Cardenas was pulled over for having illegally tinted windows when police discovered the cereal boxes in his car. $250,000 worth of cocaine was confiscated from Cardenas, and he was taken into custody.
The online food delivery service DoorDash is getting hit with some bad press with 2 disturbing incidents caught on camera. The first happened in Houston, Texas, where a man wearing a red DoorDash shirt is caught on camera using a crowbar to break into a home. He's seen casually strolling about the house looking for things to take. After ransacking the home, the thief makes off with jewelry and a phone. He also ripped out one of the kitchen cameras before walking away. And if a site like this doesn't make you think twice about ordering delivery, a Stockton, California family is mortified to find that a DoorDash delivery driver takes a sip out of the very milkshake he's about to deliver. The family didn't realize what had happened until the next day when they reviewed the doorbell camera video. They're glad no one got sick from the incident, but the experience left them with a sour taste in their mouths, as you can imagine. All they want now is an apology from DoorDash and a promise that it won't happen again. So, who drank the milkshake?
What's your segue here?
Ooh, I don't know.
I don't have a good one. Sorry, Ashley.
Oh, man. Good milkshake weather, guys.
It is good milkshake
honest to
weather.
goodness, not trying to be funny, I wanted to get a milkshake this weekend, so maybe I'll go.
Yeah, but just don't order it through DoorDash.
I won't do that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, go in person and order that milkshake. It will be a nice day to eat some ice cream outside tomorrow. I mean, it's going to be significantly warmer tomorrow than what we actually saw today. But it's not going to be lasting throughout the whole weekend. But if you can enjoy tomorrow, do it while you can. Today at BWI, we actually saw a high of 71 degrees. Started off the morning in the low 40s. Jumped about 30 degrees. I think we will tack on a few more to that tomorrow afternoon. Right now, here's a live look over the Towson Circle. Temperatures pretty mild for this time of night. 59 at BWI, 57 in Columbia, 51 right now in Annapolis. Also seeing those 50s, 59 in Glen Burnie, 57 in Ellicott City. It's a pretty comfortable evening in the 60s at the Inner Harbor. Temperatures are warmer than last night, and that's due in part to the fact that we have some clouds overhead. And and that's helping to keep those temperatures up tonight. So we'll start to see them fall back into the low 50s to begin the day tomorrow morning, potentially the upper 40s if you live in our outlying areas. So a nice start to the morning. And then when you bring in those southerly winds, we are looking at 70s for highs once again tomorrow afternoon. 72 in Glen Burnie, 72 in Ellicott City, 73 in Baltimore, also seeing the low 70s in Towson. A very comfortable Saturday. It will be filled with mostly cloudy skies, so don't expect much sunshine. But due to those brisk winds, temperatures will not have a problem making it into the 70s for our Saturday. Then changes are coming for Sunday. Right now we are dry, but you start to see a few showers off to our west. And look at all this moisture. This is riding around a decent front that will actually provide the chance for some large hail out in the central portions of the country. Also could see some severe weather tomorrow for Mississippi all the way through Tennessee and into Kentucky. For us, not the case. This is really just going to be a rainmaker. Could see some snow up in upstate New York. Not the case for us. Really just looking at some scattered showers for our Sunday. So I want to take you through the timeline of this. Most of your day on Saturday will be dry. A 20% chance you see an isolated stray shower. Otherwise, I don't think you need to cancel any plans Saturday. It's not until overnight Saturday into Sunday that we start to see a few showers popping up. Here's 6 a.m., a nice line from Westminster all the way down towards Gaithersburg. This becomes a little bit more widespread throughout the morning hours. The best chance to see the rainfall for Sunday would be, I would say, 8 a.m. through midday. And then once we get past lunchtime, we start to dry out, and temperatures, they will be dropping 48 at 5 p.m. in Baltimore. So you will notice that change outside, definitely when you compare that to the 70s the day before. As far as rainfall, doesn't look very impressive with this system, about a quarter inch or less. So flooding, definitely not a concern. I think we will see some drier weather to begin the month of April. As far as temperatures, though, they will be dropping to that freezing point going into Sunday night, and we keep the 50s and even the 40s around to begin next week. Coming up, I am tracking another warm spree in our 7-day forecast. I'll show you that in just a few minutes.
Ashley, thank you. We're following breaking news out of Baltimore County. You're looking live at the scene outside of Eastpoint Mall. That's in Dundalk. Now, you see police officers from the county running right here addressing a concern. What we're hearing is unconfirmed reports of a large-scale fight breaking out at this mall. Right now, police have not corroborated that information, but you see this live picture right now with Baltimore County Police apparently trying to get this situation under control.
Yeah, it appears that we're still, this is an intense situation going on right now. We had the report come in about a half an hour ago, and it looks as though it's still very active there. You can see several large groups of people. You can see the police officers running. We're going to just stay on this for just a minute, though, to see what happens here. But it looks like a very volatile situation out there still. Several people now getting onto that bus. It appears that the police officers are pulling people off of that bus now, and you can see the officers actually went onto that bus. So that bus there is detained by police at this time. The situation was first reported when we went on air at 10 o'clock, so this is still developing, now going on for 40 minutes, and you can see how active that is, which is rare to have a police scene be this active for that long with that many people there. There's one person there on the ground. Again, we don't know what exactly happened, but this is at Eastpoint Mall. Several roads in that area appear to be blocked off. Avoid the area if you can. A very active situation there. We see several police officers. But again, we're not exactly sure what it was that spurred this event.
Yeah, and Joy, I think I saw, in addition to Baltimore County, I also think I saw MTA police, which you would expect to see, particularly if a bus is stopped, as you mentioned, and they were trying to search that bus. So Fox 45 is going to stay on this breaking news for you. Again, a large-scale disturbance, a fight at Eastpoint Mall in southeast Baltimore County. You have a suspect right here that police have detained. We'll bring you more information on this breaking story as it develops.
This unassuming septuagenarian in Scotland could hold the key to unlocking the next step in pain management. Her unique story in tonight's Health Watch.
And for decades, she's brought you the stories that matter to viewers across Maryland. Tonight, we bid a fond farewell to an extraordinary storyteller and one heck of a dancer.
Plus, drinking with options. New tonight, why craft beer lovers should consider calories before ordering a cold one. Stay with us. The late edition is just 20 minutes away.
It's a bittersweet day here at Fox 45 as we say farewell to someone who literally set the bar for excellence.
Since signing on the air on day one here at Fox 45, Kathleen Cairns has shared nearly 3 decades worth of unforgettable stories in Baltimore. And tonight, as she ends her last day with us, we want to share her story with you.
I'm Kathleen Cairns, live at Penn Station. We do have some breaking news out of BWI. This just happened.
Kathleen is really the heart and soul of this newsroom. I mean, after all, she is one of the originals.
I have worked with Kathleen for 28 years. It's really hard to believe.
It's been like we spent a large part of our life with her, you know, and in some ways there's almost kind of a family bond there.
Kathleen and I have had many chapters of hairstyles in our careers. We've been blonde, we've been dark, we've been curly, we've been straight, and the thing is, miraculously, somehow she still manages to age backwards.
Yeah, we gotta dance. We gotta dance.
She is the goofiest, funniest.
Her quirky, goofy personality, her sense of humor.
Did you get it? Did you get it?
Nobody has ever made me laugh as hard as Kathleen does.
Hello? Can you see me in there?
Lots of jokes, lots of giggling.
She went out on a story with one of our photographers about a bear in Hunt Valley. And she's trying to get these little kids to talk on a playground.
I'm gonna do a bear sound. First I'll go.
Roar! Roar! So she stands on the playground and goes, "You'll be a bear, I'll be a bear. You'll be a bear, I'll be a bear."
I'm a bear.
And it's the funniest thing to see Kathleen doing this and then turning this cute story about this bear, and it's just so typical of her.
The sheep killers surround their prey, and then they wait. And they're rarely seen during the day.
Her trademark is her stories stand out from anything in the market.
David's collection is constantly growing.
Kathleen's signature story is magic.
I want to show you what's happening right now.
Kathleen has a style, and it's very gritty.
And they plan to stay this way. Turn around. Turn around.
A lot of people in news can identify a Kathleen Cairns story because it stands apart from the rest. A lot of people outside of news may not necessarily know that this is something different because in Baltimore, you're used to seeing Kathleen Cairns.
Once strangers.
You gotta hold really tight, Irma.
Now friends.
You got her, babe.
Kathleen has had such a commitment to not only telling good stories, but also to mentoring young journalists and specifically young photographers.
I mean, I started off as a green photographer here, and she was so patient and willing to help.
Kathleen has done such an excellent job of coaching me.
She has single-handedly helped almost every photojournalist and reporter that has walked through this building.
We're nationally recognized for our photography staff. We have had several photographers of the year on this staff, all of whom have worked closely with Kathleen.
She just has that unflappable energy and positivity, and she builds you up as a partner.
I was so nervous to meet Kathleen the first time. She's a legacy. She's an icon.
When she's telling these heartfelt stories on television, that's her. That's Kathleen. There's nothing fake about her.
Oh my God!
She's leaving a legacy. And I know that every photojournalist and reporter who work in this building are gonna try to be their version of Kathleen every single day because that's what she's instilled in us.
Oh, good. Good girl. Okay.
Kathleen.
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 Kathleen, you're a heck of a reporter. You're a great coworker. But above all that, you're a better friend.
Kathleen, we've been through a lot in more than 25 years.
You have made your mark in this community.
You are one of the best people I've ever met.
Thank you for making me smile and laugh every morning, for pushing me harder as a journalist every single day, and for the incredible legacy that you are leaving this station.
I'm going to miss you so much, and I wish you the very best. This is not the end. It's just a new beginning. I love you, Kathleen.
We will miss you. I love you, and best of luck.
My life is better because I know Kathleen Cairns. Thanks, Kath.
Kathleen on Twitter and wish her the best in her retirement. She is not leaving the area, so we'll still hear from her from time to time, but it is definitely bittersweet for us here.
It is. We're gonna miss her, but we're gonna wish her well, and we will see you, Kathleen.
And let's see if she will have sunshine for her first day of retirement.
nice.
Come on, Ashley. Let's do this.
Maybe a little bit of sunshine for Kathleen, but hey, there's sunshine wherever Kathleen goes. Temperatures will be in the low 70s for tomorrow, and then we bring in the showers for the first half of the day on Sunday. Colder to begin next week, upper 40s, and then we're back in the 60s for the home opener next week. Back to you.
A soon-to-be father shot and killed in East Baltimore. I'm Alexa Ashwell outside police headquarters with the march in his honor.
New tonight on the late edition, pregnancy preventing accessories. Find out why researchers believe it will be an easier option.
Still to come, the Orioles minor league rosters have been set, and with a rebuild underway, how soon can we expect to see some of the top prospects in Baltimore? The answer next in Sports Unlimited.
One day after the Orioles season opener, the Birds minor league affiliates broke camp roster with all eyes on AAA Norfolk and AA Bowie. After all, we'll be seeing plenty of those prospects at some point this season. Ryan Mountcastle will be at AAA for the first time. The Tide's roster is stacked with catcher Chance Sisco, reliever Tanner Scott, Anthony Santander, and DJ Stewart in the outfield. Some of the Birds' top prospects in the outfield, Yusniel Diaz and Ryan McKenna, will be in Bowie. Injured players like Austin Hayes with his thumb, they do not have a location right now, but most of these top prospects could be in an Orioles uniform, and soon.
We're in a situation where we're trying to build our talent level, and we're going to err on the side of their development. In particular, some of those guys, we wanted to see them log some more minor league at-bats and have some success in AAA. I think the guys that you saw played really well. They're going to be up here really soon, and we're excited to have them up here. But this is the group that we got to start the year, and there's going to be a lot of traffic back and forth between Norfolk and Baltimore this year.
Boys Latin and Calvert Hall and high school boys lacrosse, and who's moving on to the Elite Eight? That's at 11:30 when Sports Unlimited continues.
Thanks, Morgan. A woman in Scotland feels no pain, fear, or anxiety thanks to a genetic mutation. 71-year-old Jo Cameron may also have a better than normal ability to heal. Cameron's unique situation was first discovered 5 years ago when she had hand surgery but experienced no pain after the operation. Researchers believe her case could help science understand post-operative pain and anxiety, as well as chronic pain and PTSD. We'll check back in on the developing situation in Dundalk, where a massive police presence is called to Eastpoint Mall. Stay with us.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News Late Edition.
We're following breaking news out of Baltimore County. You're looking live at the scene outside of Eastpoint Mall in Dundalk. We're hearing unconfirmed reports of a large-scale fight breaking out, but police have not corroborated that information.
Now, this has been going on for about an hour now since that initial call came in since we heard it over the scanner. Our photographer is on the scene and says police are making arrests. We have a reporter on the way to the scene, and we'll bring you a full report as soon as they get there. In the meantime, we are streaming live video on foxbaltimore.com. You can follow it there. But this was a very active scene even 20 minutes ago. But you can see this is around Eastpoint Mall in Dundalk with Baltimore County Police out there. At least we're hearing at least a dozen police vehicles were there, and several teenagers from the mall. This is across the street at the Dunkin' Donuts, where you can see still a very active scene out there. Again, we will continue to follow this breaking news, and you can follow it online at foxbaltimore.com. The numbers are in, but unfortunately, they will rise. There have been 70 people murdered in the city of Baltimore so far this year, and it's not even the end of March.
Last year, this time, that number was 56, and that's why Baltimore is a city in crisis.
Calls for peace tonight after a man is gunned down in East Baltimore just 1 month before he would have become a father.
Fox 45's Alexa Ashwell was there for the emotional tribute.
Put down the guns and stop the violence!
Here in East Baltimore,
Put down the guns and stop the violence! Put down the guns and stop the violence!
a push to make this community safer.
It feels great because somebody's doing something together, unity to stop the violence.
Together, people walking around Greenmont Avenue where just last week a life was taken.
Peace among neighbors.
Yes.
That there will be peace in our city.
This candle leads to a hallway where those attending say 19-year-old Dante Davis, known as Trill, was shot and killed just after midnight on March 21st. The site now marked by balloons and pictures. Trill was a soon-to-be father, pictured here with his mother and pregnant girlfriend during their baby shower just days before his death, both attending tonight's vigil.
This is another child without a father, and it's not right. It will never be okay.
Lisa Moloch leads a local group that helps children whose parents have been murdered and helped organize tonight's vigil.
We want to allow his voice to be heard. His voice was taken away from him way too soon.
Mourning a loss through prayer, tears, and embrace, and together calling for a safer tomorrow.
That was Alexa Ashwell reporting. New tonight, police now want to know who shot a man several times in Northwest Baltimore. It happened after 5 p.m. on Duval Avenue. He hasn't been identified, but we do know that he's a 54-year-old man. He's in the hospital tonight. If you have any information, you're asked to call Metro Crime Stoppers. Baltimore County Police want to know how a man ended up dead outside of an apartment complex near Towson University. The victim was found bleeding heavily along Laughlin Circle outside the Towson Town Apartments. He died a short time later. Investigators are still trying to determine how he was hurt.
2 Baltimore County police officers are recovering tonight after being hit by a car while trying to serve an arrest warrant on a suspect. This all happened around 10:30 this morning in front of St. Agnes Hospital. Police tried to pull over a car to serve the passenger inside a warrant for an undisclosed charge. That's when the driver of the car the suspect was in headed toward the approaching officers.
The 3 officers immediately pulled out their weapons and began to fire shots at the suspect vehicle. At this point, it's unknown or unconfirmed how many shots were actually fired.
The suspects fled southbound on Caton Avenue. Police later found the vehicle empty on Melvin Avenue with bullet holes. They were able to track down the suspect, but the driver, who allegedly tried to run them down, remains on the loose tonight.
A Baltimore County man convicted of killing a pastor will likely spend the rest of his life behind bars. A judge sentenced Daniel DeGoto to 50 years in prison. Back in August of 2017, he was caught on camera running over Pastor Happy Ikenwilo and then stabbing him with a hunting knife more than a dozen times. Court documents revealed DeGoto believed the pastor was spiritually controlling his wife. Meantime, the man who once served briefly as Baltimore's police chief will be spending 10 months in federal prison for cheating on his taxes. That's the sentence handed down for Daryl D'Souza. Federal prosecutors asked the judge to give D'Souza a year in jail for failing to file tax returns over 3 years. Defense attorneys asked the judge for leniency, saying D'Souza was consumed with the pressures of his job while also caring for his aging parents.
I am deeply sorry for any lack of confidence or disappointment which this initiative may have caused.
The questions continue tonight despite Baltimore Mayor Catherine Pugh spending 20 minutes Thursday chronicling a long and winding path that traces her 6-figure children's book deal with the University of Maryland Medical System. It was a news conference that spent a quarter of its time with the mayor showing a line of infant clothes inspired by her Healthy Holly book series. Fox 45 caught up with Governor Larry Hogan today and asked him what he thought of the mayor's news conference.
I saw part of the press conference yesterday, and the mayor did not take questions. I understand she had some kind of documentation. I haven't seen the documentation, but I think we still have a lot of unanswered questions.
The mayor called Thursday's news conference shortly after being released from the hospital where she had been treated for a bout of pneumonia. Earlier this evening, I spoke with Kurt Nachman, a former prosecutor, now defense attorney, about the potential for this situation being a legal one for the mayor.
So
if there's an investigation that's launched, whether it's by the state prosecutor's office or a local municipal agency or, you know, the federal U.S. Attorney's Office, they're going to examine both the mayor's tax returns as well as the ethics forms for Baltimore City that she's required to file. So there's been some rumblings that maybe some of this information was or wasn't disclosed. You know, I don't think anyone in the public knows what was or wasn't disclosed, and I think we need to all reserve judgment until all of that information is out there. And frankly, that's what any prosecutor is going to look for when they're examining a situation like this.
Well, we have kind of a tale of two cities going on this weekend.
Yes, I know. We have different stories for our Saturday and Sunday. Tomorrow, actually a pretty nice day. Right now, temperatures are up. We're still seeing them in the 50s and the 60s. 59 right now in Baltimore, 49 up in Scranton, but 58 in New York. And the reason why, warm front to our north, that's going to continue to usher in those warmer conditions. We have clouds overhead. That will keep temperatures pretty mild throughout the overnight. So tomorrow morning, we start things off in the low 50s to upper 40s, and then the 70s by the afternoon. Rain chances increasing for your Sunday. I'll show you that forecast here in just a few minutes. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Ashley. Coming up, could taking birth control be as simple as putting on a piece of jewelry? Why some say this new age contraception could be easier.
If you've been waiting to read the report filed last week by Special Counsel Robert Mueller, you'll have to wait a bit longer. In a letter today to the chairs of the House and Senate Judiciary Committees, Attorney General William Barr said he's still working with Mueller and the intelligence community to redact secret grand jury and classified material. The main text of the report is nearly 400 pages long, and Barr said he believes it will be ready for public release by, quote, mid-April, if not sooner. Barr also offered to testify before both panels in early May.
Parts of the BW Parkway are shut down tonight, but it's for good reason. What you need to know after the break. And if you've ever wanted to watch us no matter where you are, now you can on a new app called Stirr. That's S-T-I-R-R. The app works on your phone, tablet, or TV. You can watch Fox 45 News live or on demand on our new local channel called Stirr Baltimore. There's also a lineup of more than 20 other free TV channels. Go to your app store on any device, download Stirr, that's with 2 R's.
And spring showers on the way for the weekend. When they arrive and the impact on your weekend plans, that's coming up.
We continue to follow breaking news from Baltimore County right now, where there is a massive police presence at Eastpoint Mall. Alexa Ashwell joins us now live from the scene. Alexa, what are you seeing out there?
Joy, just minutes ago, Baltimore County Police confirmed they have arrested several juveniles as a result of this large disturbance that happened here outside Eastpoint Mall in Dundalk. I want to go ahead and show you video that we shot when we first arrived to the scene. As you said, it was quite the disturbance. Baltimore County Police saying they were called here at about 9 p.m. At least 300 juveniles had left Eastpoint Mall and walked into the parking lot. That's when police started receiving calls for businesses being damaged and several fights that had allegedly broken out. We're told the group required response from additional precincts, including Maryland State Police. We're told several juveniles have been arrested. One report of a robbery was made that's involving a girl's cell phone, and we're told pepper spray had to be used by police in order to gain control of the crowd. Back out here live, we still have quite a large police presence. We're told the juveniles who remain on scene, transportation is going to be provided to help them get to their homes. But what we know, several juveniles arrested after a large disturbance here at Eastpoint Mall. Reporting live in Dundalk, Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
Alexa, thank you. A traffic alert, and it's good news tonight. Tonight, crews have begun repairing potholes on the BW Parkway. That means the National Park Service has closed the southbound portion of the parkway between routes 198 to 197 until 5 tomorrow morning. That same stretch will be closed northbound Saturday night into Sunday. All that work expected to be finished on Sunday morning. A flight from BWI to San Francisco makes an emergency landing at Dulles International Airport. 7 passengers were taken to the hospital after complaining about fumes inside the United plane's cabin. A passenger shared in a Twitter post that United said the issue was due to ventilation problems.
For many, there's nothing like ending the long week with, a cold beer. But a reminder, beer is deceptively high in calories, especially craft beer. Our sister station in Cincinnati, Ohio, asked an expert to find out why.
Most of us know by now that a typical 12-ounce soda pop has about 9 teaspoons of sugar and 150 calories or so. But registered dietitian Sherry Kanarak of St. Elizabeth Healthcare told me when it comes to beer,
I think a lot of people don't pay attention to the calories in their beer.
But if beer is your drink of choice, she says you may want to pay attention to the calories, especially when it comes to craft beers.
And craft beer will typically have more calories than the standard American lager beers, more so because of the alcohol content.
Translation?
A typical craft beer is about 5.7% alcohol, and an American lager is like 4 to 5%.
But some, she says, may be as high as 10%.
10% alcohol will be like 300 calories, which is 2 times more than an American standard lager beer, or more than even a candy bar. So if you're having 2 or 3 craft beers, then you're getting a lot of additional calories that people don't realize they're getting.
So the bottom line, or maybe when it comes to bottoms up,
and craft beers are meant to be sipped and savored. They are more complex flavors, so you want to take your time and enjoy that craft beer and not just guzzle it down.
In the last weekend of March, and it is going to be beautiful for a little bit of it.
A little bit of it. Not the whole weekend, because that would just be too perfect, you know?
Right.
That would just be too good to be true. But we are looking at a pretty decent Saturday, and then temperatures go down for Sunday. As for today, we saw highs in the 70s. Let's go ahead and take a look at those. We saw a high of 71 at BWI. Same goes for DC, 65 in Bel Air and 67 in downtown Baltimore. Right now, temperatures still up in the upper 50s to low 50s, 52 right now in Annapolis, but pretty comfortable for this time of year. We'll stay in the 50s to begin the day tomorrow. Mostly cloudy skies. Southerly winds bring us to a high of 73 by the afternoon. I want to show you what's going on right now on our satellite and radar. A lot of clouds in place. We have a front up to our north. That warm front's going to keep the warm air around, but look at all of this moisture that is surrounding the center portions of the country. We're talking about unprecedented flooding across the Mississippi River from Minnesota all the way down to Louisiana. We're looking at flood watches and warnings. For us, that is not going to be the case with this system. It will lose a lot of energy as it travels closer towards us, but it will bring us the chance for widespread showers for the second half of our weekend. Taking you through Futurecast, I think most of the day on Saturday will be dry and warm, and then going into our overnight hours, that's when we will add in a few spotty showers. Here's 6 a.m. Sunday morning, a few showers over Carroll County. That becomes more widespread throughout the morning hours. So plan on rain coming down, I would say through 8 a.m. through your lunchtime hours for Sunday, and then things clear up by Sunday afternoon, but it will be much colder, and it will definitely be seeing temperatures back in the 40s to end out our Sunday. So 54 the high. That'll probably be throughout the morning hours on Sunday, upper 40s on Monday, and then we warm back up to the 60s by the end of next week. Back to you.
All right, Ashley, thank you. Put the power of the Weather Authority Storm Center in your hands. Download the WBFF Weather Authority app. From your smartphone, use our powerful Doppler radar to follow storms right down to your street. There's also a 10-day planner and hour-by-hour forecast. The Weather Authority app is free. Go to your app store and search for WBFF.
Travelers rejoice. There's finally a way to go through airport security without unpacking your luggage. What it is and when you'll experience it.
Pregnancy preventing accessories? Find out why researchers believe it will be an easier option.
From the
Terrorism Alert Desk in Washington, I'm Lindsay Mastis. An estimated 20,000 people attended a memorial service for the victims of New Zealand's mosque attack. The service was held just steps from one of the mosques where dozens were shot and killed 2 weeks ago. The man accused of carrying out the attack is expected to face more charges next week. The Daily Mail reports some people living in Mosul, Iraq, say life under ISIS was better than it is now, and they want the terror group to return. ISIS captured Mosul in 2014, but lost control of the city last summer. And U.S. Special Forces just completed a joint terrorism exercise with their counterparts in Qatar. Stars and Stripes reports the troops participated in a simulated strike on a terrorist network in the Persian Gulf country. From the Terrorism Alert Desk in Washington, I'm Lindsay Mastis.
We have breaking news coming into the Fox 45 newsroom. Baltimore County Police have confirmed they're on the scene of a murder in Woodlawn. Details are limited, but we know it happened in the 3400 block of Barry Paul Road. Log on to foxbaltimore.com and Fox Morning News at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning for the latest developments in this breaking news story.
A published report says investigators have determined that an anti-stall system automatically activated before an Ethiopian Airlines Boeing 737 MAX jet plunged into the ground. The Wall Street Journal, citing unidentified people briefed on the investigation, says the preliminary conclusion was based on information from the aircraft's data and voice recorders. The data showed that the malfunctioning automated system may be responsible for the deadly March 10th crash. It also is a strong link to the deadly crash of an Indonesian Lion Air MAX jet, which had similar problems in October.
Well, hopefully those TSA lines at the airport will be shorter. The agency plans to buy 300 computer tomography systems. CT scanning can provide 3D images the current X-ray scanners aren't capable of doing. That means you can leave your electronics in your bag, including those laptops. Look for the machines in some airports this summer.
Coming up, Orioles first-year manager Brandon Hyde wasn't able to win his debut, but likes what he saw from his team. We'll hear from the skipper next in Sports Unlimited. A new alternative could be on the way if you're looking for a different form of birth control.
Scientists at the Georgia Institute of Technology are developing special patches that attach to the back of jewelry, including earrings, watches, and also rings.
The patches contain contraceptive hormones, and once they come into contact with the skin, they would be absorbed and distributed in the bloodstream. The product seems to work on pigs' ears and on hairless rats at the moment, but humans have not been tested.
Well, that's all for us on the late edition tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Kai Jackson.
And I'm Joy Lambert. Now here's Morgan Adset with Sports Unlimited. Morgan.
Joy and Kai for that awkward story. 24 hours ago, we got our first glimpse of the Orioles' official rebuild in Game 1 under new roster building leadership with GM Mike Elias, new leadership on the field with manager Brandon Hyde, and a roster that featured only 8 players who were on the O's active roster for last season's opener. It went about as expected. It also doesn't help going up against the Yankees. The Birds lost New York 7-2. A game of struggles. Jonathan VR got hit by what would have been a single of Trey Mancini for an automatic out. Pitchers walked 8 batters. In the 5th, Andrew Kashner and Mike Wright combined for 3 straight walks, and then Wright hit a batter, and Chris Davis was 0 for 3. Only game 1 of 162, but it's going to be a long road in this rebuild.
Unlucky breakthrough in the top of the first, with the ball hitting VR there, kind of stopped the rally. But we competed. We just, we walked way too many guys and allowed them to have way too many opportunities.
Take away the 2 walks in the 5th, and I thought some of those I thought I had a lot of balls really close on the plate that could have gone either way, but it is what it is.
The O's announced next Saturday, April 6th, prior to first pitch against the Yankees, will be a celebration of Frank. There will be a video tribute and guest speakers to honor the late and Hall of Famer Robinson, who died last month, starting at 6:15 at Camden Yards. O's Yankees off. Let's take a look at some other AL East action. Blue Jays hosting the Tigers. Toronto up 1 in the 4th with bases loaded. And Freddie Galvis singles up the middle, but Mikey Matuk can't field it clean. All 3 runners score. Blue Jays up 4-0. Same score in the 7th. Justin Smoke rips a 2-run single to left center. Blue Jays win 6-0. The Rays looking for their first win as they take on the Astros. Scoreless in the top of the 3rd. Michael Brantley skips it down the right field line. That allows 2 runs to score. Astros up 2-0, but the Rays answer in the bottom half, now down 1. G-Man Choi singles the center. Rays take the lead and never give it back as they win 4-2. Towson's Jack Saunderson is currently in Austin, Texas, competing at the NCAA Men's Championship. The senior finished 16th in the 100-fly prelims, moving to tonight's final, where he finished 15th overall. Yesterday, he finished 42nd in the 200 IM. Saturday, Saunderson swims his best event, the 200-fly, where he has the 5th fastest time in the nation this season. At worst, he'll finish as honorable mention with an All-American for the 3rd straight season. High school lacrosse has been in full swing all month, but tonight the boys open up MIAA play. McDonough leads the A conference with a perfect 6-0 start to the season, with Calvert Hall next in line, 5-1 so far. The Hall hosting boys Latin, both 0-0 in conference play. Quick start for the Cardinals, already up 1, and no one decides to cover Josh Weber, driving in the net. 2-0 Calvert Hall. Second quarter, Cardinals on the man advantage, using the good ball movement, setting up Daniel Kelly on the doorstep for the goal. Calvert Hall up 4-1. Third quarter, Cardinals now up 7. Weber feeds Colin Stewart for his second of the game. Calvert Hall looking impressive this season. Winners 12-5. The second night of Sweet 16 action wrapping up. Due to NCAA rules, we cannot show you the highlights until all games are complete. Could have been Maryland, but 2-seed Michigan State taking care of LSU and DC tonight, 80-63. And North Carolina becomes the first 1-seed to lose. Auburn, 97-80. Virginia Tech and Duke, back and forth game all night. Duke with its largest lead by 6 with 10 minutes to go. Kentucky up on Houston early in the second half by 10. That is all for Sports Unlimited. I'm Morgan Atzett. Thanks for watching and have a great night.